Welcome to Impact Makers Radio, featuring industry thought leaders sharing problem-solving insights to help grow your business and live the life you love. And here's your host, Stuart Andrew Alexander.
Hello everyone, today's guest is called Matthew Pollard and is otherwise known as the Rapid Growth Guy, and we're going to find out shortly why he is called that. So a little bit about Matthew before we get started. With 5 multi-million-dollar business success stories to his name and a prestigious Young Achiever Award, Matthew has been characterized as a true differentiation, niche marketing, and sales systemization powerhouse. His rapid growth ideology has led him to successful market penetration in industries as vastly different as telecommunications, construction, and nationally accredited education. He has also been successful in acquiring high-profile customers such as multinational award-winning franchises, luxury automotive brands, leading medical institutions, law associations, and national premiership football teams. Matthew is a recurring guest on Fox 7's Good Day Austin, as well as a featured contributor to CEO, Entrepreneur, and Top Sales World magazine. He is also a sought-after judge at many of America's most prominent startup events, including Google Startup Weekend, Angel Hack, and Microsoft's 60 Seconds to Startup. Matthew now brings about rapid growth and business transformation around the world through his many speaking and coaching activities, as well as his top-rated iTunes podcast, Better Business Coach. With all that said, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Matthew to the show. Matthew, welcome. Are you out there?
I am, mate. Thank you very much, and I appreciate you going right through that introduction. You're a good man.
Well, you have accolades as long as my arm, Matthew, and I'm sure our guests are going to be able to benefit from that today. So without that said, let's jump in and get started with our first question. So Matthew, if you could briefly just explain to us, who is your perfect prospect? Who is it that you actually help with your business?
So predominantly I work with stagnant businesses or new startup businesses. And what I help them do is obtain rapid growth. So predominantly what I understand within small to medium business, and this has got a lot to do with why the failure of small business is so high, is that people generally have a great functional skill. They work for a boss and then they think, hey, I'm going to go out and do this for myself. Or they have a great idea and they decide to run out and build it or develop it. And then all of a sudden the product's ready, they've opened up their business, and then they go, oh dear, I forgot that I have to take into account sales and marketing. So what I do is I spend a lot of time, and look, there are a lot of people that focus on marketing. There are a lot of people that focus on sales. There are very few that do both. So what I do is I help organizations obtain rapid growth through the art of creating a unified message, a differentiated message, finding a niche market of willing to buy customers, and creating a sales system behind it that converts interest into paying clients.
Okay, Matthew. I mean, that sounds all very interesting. So it's clear that you help businesses to obtain a rapid growth, and that's whether they're a startup or already in business and growth has come to a grinding halt. So let's just dig a little deeper before we go any further. Could you share with us, if you would, 2 to 3 specific problems that you solve for them?
Okay, so for the first one, a good example I can give you of it is a client that I worked with in California. They were the largest language institute for teaching Mandarin in California. And her problem was there were a lot of new entrants coming into the country that were willing to cut their prices to the bone just to get customers. And as you can imagine, what she had viewed was everybody was teaching Mandarin, therefore she was the same as them. So the only thing that she could compete on was price. So quickly going through her customer avatar, what her goals were, I recognized that she helped a couple of customers, and I think from memory it was 2 or 3, with understanding the concept of galaxy, which is the Chinese way of developing rapport and relationship with their clients. And she helped these clients understand that. She also helped them understand e-commerce over in China because it's very different to the way Australians and the US population buy online. And then she also helped them with accent reduction. And what I said to her after working with her is that she actually helped these people become successful in China. These were executives being relocated to China. So we rebranded her from the Beijing Language Academy to the China Success Institute. All of her staff became China Success coaches. And she now created we created a joint venture with a few immigration agents that recommended her for a commission for a $30,000 5-week program that helped the executive, the spouse, and any children become prepared and ready to be relocated over to China. All of a sudden, we went from the problem of $50 to $80 an hour, how do I charge more, to avoiding the battle altogether and charging $30,000 for a 5-week program, and she can't grow quick enough to support the amount of customer interest she's getting. So what I help people do, and I can give you 1,000 examples just like this, but what I help people do is become really clear about what it is that they provide for their clients, but stepping out of their functional skill and looking at what they do different to everybody else that they can leverage and get a market of willing to buy customers that love what they do, a niche market that they have all to their own or with very little competition.
So just a minute there, Matthew. Just towards the end, you said you help your clients obtain clarity on what it is that they do for their clients. I mean, wouldn't that be something obvious if you are already in business, you know your products, you know your services? Am I understanding that there's a lot of businesses out there who are simply just not clear about what they're actually offering to their clients?
Well, the truth is they're completely clear about what they offer to their clients. The problem is that everybody else around them offers the same products and services. For instance, if you're a dentist just like everyone else, right? Which means you only have price really to compete on. But maybe you're a better dentist. Then you can definitely try and leverage that. But a great example is a business coach. A business coach walks into a room and says, I'm a business coach. 27 other people in the room of 100 people turn their head around and say, oh, me too, I'm a business coach. Well, what does that really do for you? It just means that you have to compete with everybody else and people paint you with the same brush. For instance, with me, you could say I'm a marketing specialist. You could say I'm a sales systemization specialist. You could say I help with branding. The truth of the matter is that doesn't define anything of what I've done. I've built 5 multi-million-dollar businesses from the ground up. I know how to build the solid foundations for a small business to get ready to grow. I know how to create a message where customers run to you with their money and are willing to wait in line because you have put a message out there that just works. What I specialize in is not business coaching. What I specialize in is rapid growth. Now, sure, there are people that don't want rapid growth, and I'm cutting myself out of a market of people that just want a long-term stable business. But the truth is the people that I speak to are willing, able, and wanting to pay for me to work with them. And that's what I'm doing. I'm specifically talking to a specific audience that knows, likes, and trusts me and the brand that I put forward, as opposed to saying a functional skill like I'm a business coach, where there are business coaches that are successful in working with clients in a whole plethora of things, yet they still call themselves a business coach. And the problem with that is when they go to a networking event, when they're building their website, they plant these common, inspecific words everywhere. And that's what hurts them, because they can't get people to rally to their cause because they're just getting inundated with the same message all the time.
Okay, so could you share some really quick sound bites of what business owners can do out there to set themselves apart so that when potential clients come into contact with them, they're going to say, this is the person, this is the guy, this is the girl that I need to be working with. Some maybe 2 to 3 quick sound bites of what they can actually do to set themselves apart.
Okay, so for the first thing, get out of their functional skill. Yeah, okay, great. They might be a great electrician. They might be a great plumber. They might be really, really good at creating email sequences that customers can use to get more customers. None of that actually matters because lots of people do that. What they need to get down and drill down to is what they uniquely do, the true value that they provide that no one else does. So what I get clients to do a lot of the time is write a list. Now, this isn't my process, but this is the best process I can give for people to be able to do this themselves. And what I get people to do is write down a list of all of the clients that they make the most money out of. Then secondly, write down a list of all of the clients that sing their praises, that continually come back for more work and more services or buy more products, are constantly writing reviews and recommending you to their friends, the people you get the most success out of, really. Now, what you then do is you start to group these into what we call customer segments. So some people that you make the most money out of also will be, and what I want you to do is list people's actual physical names and then start to group the names in similarities. And what you'll find is all of a sudden you might have 5 or 6 or 10 groups of customers where you have now got, and you can call them specific names. Then what you do is grab a blue pen out and circle all the ones in blue that you make really good money out of. In red, circle all the groups where you have them singing your praises and they get a great experience from you. I bet you'll find that there are 1 or 2 of these segments where you A, have them circled in blue, and B, have them circled in red. What that means is that they love working with you and you make great money out of them. Then you say, okay, what is it that I provide these people that's different to everybody else? I.e., why is it they sing my praises? Now, don't guess. Pick up the phone and ask these people. They're clients of yours. They're not going to say, oh, I didn't realize that I could have got my services everywhere else and run away. But these people will say things that you provide, if you're a dentist, outside pure dentistry. Or if you're a business coach, outside pure business coaching functional skill. Write these things down. All of those things down, and then say to yourself, what is the higher level benefit of all of these things? So as a business coach, forget the fact that you're a business coach. What is the higher level benefit of just those things that you give people above and beyond just plain business coaching that still encompasses business coaching? Then you'll come up with your name. Now, this simple process of doing it sometimes scares people because they're like, well, I've only ever had 1 or 2 customers like that one. Well, the truth is there's probably thousands, if not millions of customers just like that out there. But you spend your time speaking to everybody, and as a result, you truly speak to nobody. So for me, what I focused in with is, yeah, sure, I'm just a business coach, or yeah, sure, I'm just a marketing specialist. But what my absolute pure ability is the ability to grab any organization, any idea, startup, new or stagnant, or failing, and turn it into a rapid growth business within a ridiculously short period of time. So what encapsulates everything that I do outside the concept of business coaching or sales and marketing coaching? Rapid growth. And for you, there'll be one just the same as that you can use to create rapid growth within your business. It all comes down to the message and then building the sales system in the back end to make that work.
Perfect. I mean, that is some really high-level advice that you're sharing with us today, Matthew, and I'm sure our listeners are going to be really appreciative of you being so open and just digging so deep and sharing that information so freely. So you just spoke a little bit about gaining clarity and setting yourself apart and establishing higher level benefit, really having a good think about that for your clients. What's the higher level benefit for them? However, even though it's very clear that you are the foremost expert in rapid growth, what are 1 or 2 popular misconceptions that people have about your product and service, or even the results that it produces? Can you just share a little bit about that with us for us?
Of course. So the first thing is that people assume rapid growth means lots of additional staff. And for some people, they don't want lots of additional staff. So they don't want rapid growth for their business. The truth is that is a complete misconception. Rapid growth for me is purely focused on revenue increase or profitability increase, even better. So for me, rapid growth doesn't mean I have now 50 staff or 100 staff and a $10 million turnover. I've consulted $10 million businesses, $100 million businesses that make less profit than $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 businesses after all expenses and staff are paid. So the truth is, rapid growth is a rapid growth in profitability. That is the core focus, whatever that looks like. Now, if you're a sole trader who wants to operate by yourself and have no more additional expenses than you currently have, rapid growth to you could be I want to be able to take on a ridiculous number of more clients so I can start to put my prices up. And once my price gets to this level, then I'm happy to plateau. But at the moment, I'm earning $27,000 because I don't have enough clients and because I'm not charging enough. But I can't put up my price because I'm worried about losing my clients, and it's a catch-22. So for rapid growth for them, it's all about getting the prices up and getting more clients in the door right now to a certain level, and then the prices increase, but the number of hours you put out don't. The second misconception that most people have is that they can have rapid growth today. See, I've consulted with many people that they say to me, I want to get a 10x growth in my business. And that's fantastic. And generally, I can create 10x growth in a business just by structuring the message, giving them a couple of ways to strategize their marketing, and they're out, and now they've got 10 times as many sales coming in. The problem is, what if you've got a 15% defect ratio on your current level of products and services that you provide? Or you get a 15% customer complaint ratio that you then have to use customer service? Or you're currently 75% completely told in your business, i.e. I'm the director and I need to have 75% of the work of my workload is handling my current customer base. If I 10x my customers, then I have to 10x the amount of labor I have to put in, and I can't support that. So a lot of times before rapid growth is possible, you have to take a step back and say, how do I structure my systems and processes so that I can support rapid growth? And that is reducing the defect rate, increasing the amount of additional communication you make so that you get less customer complaints, and helping key personnel step out of the absolute necessary positions that they currently have to support the growth on a massive level.
Again, some amazing feedback there, Matthew, but there's one misconception that I have in my own mind, and that is the one of you have to have the gift of the gab to sell a product or service. Can you just share a little bit of information about that, whether it's true, is it not true? What's your opinion on that?
Okay, so I'm a walking evidence of the fact that that's not true. What I mean by that is when I left high school, I had a reading speed of a sixth grader. I was horribly introverted, and I had no idea how to sell. Not only did I have no idea how to sell, my ability to communicate was that I actually got shy and struggled talking to my own friends and family about what was going on in my life because I was ridiculously introverted. So that wouldn't exactly be the poster boy of a person that was going to become a national sales sensation. But the truth was, I moved into a job that went bankrupt just before Christmas, and the only option I had was commission-only sales job. So of course I applied for one because I had no option. And next thing I knew, I was dropped out a street of shops, and I had to walk down them until I made my first sale. That was 93 doors of getting rejected, thrown out, told to go and get a real job. It was the most horrible experience that anyone could possibly have ever gone through. Now, obviously, I'm bigging that up a little bit because I'm assuming there's some horrible situations people can go through. But for me, at that time, it was detrimental to my mindset, my psyche, everything. And this was going to be my life. Of course, I made a sale on the 93rd door, but I remember walking out going, oh my gosh, I have to do this again tomorrow. So I taught myself how to sell through YouTube videos. And all I did was focus on one element of the sales process at a time and taught myself how to sell through those. Within just a few months, I was the national #1 sales performer for the largest sales and marketing company in the Southern Hemisphere. And if you can imagine a guy completely acne-ridden, 19 years old, I was managing and training people 30 years older than me on how to follow a very simple 5-step sales process and explaining to people that if you've got the gift of the gab, that isn't a downside. It's actually a positive because if you've got the gift of the gab, you rely on your personality. The problem with that is if you have a fight with your husband, your wife, your parents, your child, and you come to work in a bad mood, problem is your sales are going to suck because your personality is not in the game today. So they have peaks and troughs in their sales process. A systemized sales process, you just run the program. And then later down the track, I integrated a full sales script into every business that I ran, where people would learn an entire sales script. before they went out and saw it. Now, people have slight objections to that because they're worried it's going to make them sound scripted and unoriginal. And I always tell them, look at your favorite actors in movies and in television shows. They don't come across as scripted because they practiced the script absolutely to a finite point where they delivered it and they made it their own. The problem a lot of people have is they read it once and they're like, okay, I'll go out and try it. Until you've embodied the script, scripting is a bad idea. But for an introvert or a person without the gift of the gab, it is absolutely vital for people to learn those two processes. The process of sales systemization will do wonders for you. The process of sales scripting will make you better than most extroverted gift of the gab salespeople almost straight away, as long as you embody it. And if you'd like people to have a little bit more information, I've actually got a free video available on my website that takes people through that process, which is available at matthewpollard.guru/sales.
Okay, great. Matthew, I got to be straight with you. I'm a little bit disappointed because you said something to me that I don't know if you're telling me the truth. You said you made reference to you being a 13-year-old boy with acne. That's something I just cannot relate to because when I look at you now, you could be the next James Bond. You're just so handsome and chiseled. Come on, be straight with us now. There's no way you was a 13-year-old boy full of acne and insecure. And look at you now. What's going on?
Well,
what's the
secret? The truth of the matter is, acne didn't really come in for me until I was about 15. But 15 to 18 was a horrible time for me. Now, what you won't see in those photos that you see of me now is the $5,500 worth of plastic surgery that I had to fix a bunch of scarring. Unfortunately, when I was 24, I got hit in the head with a glass at a random incident, and I got stabbed in the face twice, and I had 26 stitches across the entire left side of my face. And it cost $5,500 to fix that. And the benefit of going through that process is they also were able to remove a huge amount of my acne scarring. However, I have a photo of me that I talk about in some of my speaking events, and I'm speaking at the Selling Power 2.0 conference in November. And one of the slides that I'll put up, which is very personal to me, was when I arrived at my sister's wedding when I was about 21, and my face was still incredibly acne-ridden, that my face is absolutely red at my sister's wedding. And it's one of those photos that I share because one of the things that you'll find, and I think that this is a true thing for a lot of people that have hit success, is that they want to show and share the stories and the things that have happened to them so that people will believe that it's possible. And you're right. Looking at me now, you'll say, how is this charismatic guy that isn't that bad looking anymore all of a sudden talk about these stories about how he was acne-ridden, full of braces, and, had all of these things that were negative about what was going on. And that's the problem with stories of success. People look at you as how you are now and assume that's how you were then and assume success was a natural progression for somebody as brilliant as they now see. The truth of the matter was I had braces, I had acne, I was hugely introverted, and I just didn't have any confidence going for me. I didn't even know what I wanted to do with my life. Now I tell people and educate people on how to find their path, understanding their business and understanding their strategy. But I'm a different person 10, 12 years on, 13 years on than I was when I first left school. People listen to the stories of the success and the things that I've done. And I have a good friend, Tom Singer, that says, Matt, if you achieved all of that, you must have started when you were 12 years old. Now, I'm 31 now. The truth is I've accomplished a lot. And that has allowed me to transform who I am. But I've got an article that's just about to go up in Inc. magazine about the fact that what I do is I consume huge amounts of information. Now, as a person with a reading disability, I don't read that information. I listen to it on Audible. I listen to blog posts through a product called Lizgo. And I consume huge amounts of information that allows me to help my clients in the most specific and relevant stages of where they are right now.
So, Matthew, first of all, I want to thank you for just being so open and so honest and being vulnerable. I speak with a lot of business owners that are, at that point in their career where they've attained a certain amount of success, and quite often, like you said, you just don't get to hear that journey that they have made, the transformation that they have made. And I think it's commendable that you've shared that with the listeners. It just kind of spawned a question that I have for you on a personal level. Even though if you look at the point of where you are at now, and then think back to that 12, 13, 14, 15-year-old boy and the incident that happened, does that 13-year-old boy still crop up? And if so, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with that voice, those images, to still get out there on a daily basis and to help your clients and to be the educator, to be the advocate, to be the trustworthy advisor that you have positioned yourself as? How do you actually go about doing that, Matthew?
So firstly, when you say does that boy still crop up, that boy is actually who I am as a person. The truth was, right, the fear has just gone. And what I mean by that is in the past, I believed myself to be inadequate. I believed myself to not be good enough. I believed that there were other people that were born and destined for success. The truth is, now I believe that success is for anybody that wants it. I believe that the amount of experience and success that I've had gives me a duty to go out and share that with others. And the truth is that if I can't be real and open and honest and share about all of the things that went wrong in my life, then I am not the right conduit for people to learn from. Because if I come in and say, here's me, the $5 million, my multi-million-dollar business success story, here, come and listen to me, people walk out, and even though they like to believe it's possible, they walk out going, this guy has just had success his entire life. He didn't come from a poor neighborhood like I did. He didn't have any problems with acne like I did. He probably was doing advanced algebra when he was in preschool, like I definitely wasn't. And they just go home, and their problem is their negative voice inside their head says, but you could never do that. And the one thing that I'm very clear on is that anybody can do whatever they want if they put their mind to it. And I am evidence of that. For someone as introverted and as many issues as I had, I mean, I was a guy out selling and teaching people how to sell where it's purely a lot of trust is involved. Yet I had 26 stitches in my face and I looked like I'd just come out of a bar fight. Right? So there are huge numbers of reasons why I shouldn't have been successful. So when I share the message with people of why I'm successful anyway, the message is very, very clear and it allows people to say, yeah, I could do that too. And when you say, how do I not let that little boy come back inside my head? The truth is that without that little boy sharing his experiences and all the intimate things that happened, I can't truly help people. So I don't turn that off. The only thing that I switch off, and I would suggest everybody does this, is that little voice inside your head that says that you can't do it. The truth is you can do it. Now that little voice is inside your head from prehistoric days where if you saw a bear run at you, your brain would say, you should probably run now. But that voice does not serve you anymore. It doesn't serve you in relationships when you want to walk up to that girl and ask her out on a date. It doesn't serve you in a career when you want to go in and ask your boss for a promotion. But it is the voice inside your head that has told you for your entire life, stay safe because otherwise you could die. But these days, you don't die from asking a girl out. You don't die from asking a boss for a promotion. But in Brian Tracy's Psychology of Selling, he says that psychologists say it's akin to a rejection or a fear of approaching is akin to a guy or a girl walking up in a sales process and expecting to get spanked. This is what's going on inside our minds. And we just have to say, this thinking does no longer apply to me in my life. It doesn't benefit me, and just switch it off.
Well, Matthew, I only wish I was there, sat right next to you right now, because if I would, I'd be giving you a man hug, really, because it's just, you're just so open. I can just feel the vibe just coming through the airwaves. Thank you so much for just digging so deep and sharing not only just tools and tactics, but getting into the mindset. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many resources we have and how many tools and softwares. If what's going on between our ears is not right, then all of that doesn't matter. So we're coming to the end of today's show, Matthew, and I've just got a couple of questions left for you. So with that said, what would be the absolute best piece of advice to the people listening out there who are experiencing zero growth? They may have a plateau in their business. There's no movement, so to speak, and they are wanting to obtain that rapid growth you've been talking about. And even if they suck at, they completely suck at sales, what would be your absolute best piece of advice for them?
So there is a quote that I like so much that helps me reframe everything that I do in my career, and I constantly use it. So I'm going to relay that to you guys, and that is, you decide every moment of every day who you are and what you believe in. You get a second chance every second. Now, the truth is, this can be read as you can change your beliefs and be a flimsy person that doesn't stick to anything that they say on a daily basis. That's not what it means to me. What it means to me is that regardless of who I define myself as right now, what I'm doing right now, and all of my stories that I have inside my head for why I can't do it, tomorrow's a new day. I can redecide now, tomorrow, or at any time what my life is going to be like, and I can create it for myself.
We're just about done here. So if any of the listeners out there thinks that they might be ready to experience the rapid growth you've been talking about, to get some more information about having the right mindset to crush those inner fears, even if they think that they can't do all of that, what would be the best way for them to get hold of you, Matthew?
Sure. So the best way to get in contact with me is you can find me on Twitter at Matthew Pollard _. You can also find me on Google by typing in my name, and you'll get pretty much the entire page of Google under my name comes up as me. But you'll find my website there, which is matthewpollard.guru. That's not .com, it's got .guru. And you can go to that, and the very first thing you'll see is a big banner that says rapid growth is easier than you think. Click here and I'll show you how. Now, I'll tell you a secret. It's going to ask you for your email address. But when you put in your email address, it's going to send you 13 different emails to how you can start to do this by yourself. And the reason why I share all of that content is I'm a big believer. I grew up in a really poor area, and without certain people helping me that I couldn't afford to pay, and I really didn't say thank you anywhere near as much as I should have, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I'm a big believer in giving back. And as part of that, I like to provide as much free content as absolutely possible. And you'll find, as an example, the amount of information I've given you. But on my website, there's over 100 pages and audios and videos of different pieces of information that I share to help you on your journey. And the email series is just another additional to that. And for anyone out there that's worried about giving away their content because they're worried that people won't come to them as clients, the truth of the matter is people that want to work with me will work with me regardless of how much content I give away. That's just the aesthetics of proving that I know what I'm talking about. But the people that have the money and the want to truly succeed, they're the ones that contact you and say, hey, Matt, I know you've got all this information out there, and I really appreciate all of that information. However, I want to work with you directly so that you can do what you're suggesting you can do for me and my business. And when you when you opt in to any of the things on my website, you do get the opportunity to speak to me for 15 to 30 minutes. Now, if you get the opportunity to do that and you're one of those people, then book a call. And I'm very happy to help you and take you through the process of how you can create rapid growth within your own business.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we should give Matthew a virtual round of applause because the information that he's been sharing with us today has been so valuable. It's been so real, so authentic, and I really, I'm going to try my best to get Matthew back on the show again at some time if he's open to doing that. Matthew, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence today. Once again, that was MatthewPollard.guru. MatthewPollard.guru. Go there, enter in your email address. It's a very small, minimal price to pay to have access to such an educator and an advocate and a trustworthy advisor for your success, ladies and gentlemen. So with that said, Matthew, you got any final thoughts before we leave?
Look, the only piece of thought I could give you is a quote from Robert Kiyosaki, and that is that most people spend their entire time not starting because they're waiting for all the lights to be green. Unfortunately, the lights are red a lot of the time down the way, and if you spend your life waiting for them to go green, you'll spend your life waiting. So stop waiting for all the lights to go green and just get started.
Thank you for tuning in to Impact Makers Radio. To listen to all past, present and future industry thought leaders and trendsetters, visit us at impactmakersradio.com.